Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Sam Broyles Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the Chuck Black Knights basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Sam Broyles. Coach, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good.
How was your day of practice today?
A little tiring after a trip from Cosby.
Yeah.
We got back about 12 last night, it seemed like, and just a little tired. I mean, we had a good practice. Boys, they're eager to get back. I mean, we got a couple dealing with injuries playing down there. I mean, you know how rough it gets at Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
Last night was no exception.
Yeah, let's jump straight into it since we're already on the conversation of it. Going down there to Cosby last night, first game of the week too. Seemed like they couldn't miss from what you told me. They had a hot shooting night, ended up beating you guys. Talk to me about that game and take me through it all.
Well, 27 turnovers. And, a lot of that, we've got to do a better job. We've talked about this before. Cosby, quicker teams that give us fits this year so far. If you look at our losses, we've played teams that's quicker than us. And, last night was no exception. I mean, they ran a 2-2-1 press, back to 2-3 most of the night, and we let that press affect us. And we've got to get to the point where that we can handle teams' press, even if they are quicker than us. You move that ball, especially a zone press, by passing it, not trying to dribble through it. We still have lapses like it where we think we're supposed to dribble through it, and that's not the way you beat it. That's the way you turn it over, and 27 turnovers later, we were losing to Cosby.
It's a hard game to play whenever you turn the ball over that much too, because you're putting yourself behind so much. Because, like you said before we cut this interview on, you don't get as many possessions as you normally would in a game, and you're giving that team so many more.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we were up 4 in the fourth with all those turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
And, we took some ill-advised shots that we've talked about in practice and we're going to work on. There's nothing wrong with taking, certain shots during the game. You got to understand when and where to take those shots. If it's a 4-point game with, say, 4 minutes to go, you don't need to be shooting threes.
Yeah.
And once we, understand that, learn the difference between a good shot and a bad shot. There's nothing wrong with taking threes, but you got to know the time, and there's the time for everything. And we took 3 or 4 bad shots in a row. That we'll get better. That's the good thing about this team. They're eager to get better, and I've seen a lot of improvement. Brock Rush is getting better handling the point every game. I told him that today. He fouled out, which really hurt us with 3 minutes to go. And we got to have him, in those situations. But we were forced into a situation where we had to foul.
Yeah.
And, Brock just happened to be the one to get that 5th foul at that time.
It's unfortunate whenever the one in foul trouble has to step up and make that foul too. Yeah.
It is, but, hats off to him because he's not afraid to do that. Mm-hmm. Whatever he has to do to help the team. If they miss those free throws, that gives us, an extra possession there. Cut into the lead.
And you talk about that press too, that 2-2-1. Is that a press that you expect to see out of any other teams going forward throughout the year?
Oh yeah, that's when we played Daniel Boone. Mm-hmm. That really hurt us. Happy Valley ran it a little bit. They also ran, don't get me wrong, on 1-2-1-1. Getting after us too. The Happy Valley game. Changing subject there, but we were only up 9 at halftime.
Yeah.
At Happy Valley, and their defense was a lot better. They've gotten better as a team. We did a better job second half of handling their press, so we've just got to get better at handling teams' pressure.
And speaking of that Happy Valley game too, we'll go ahead and jump right into it since we're on the conversation of that too. But I'm sure as a coach it wasn't as fun, but for me on the sideline it was fun watching the first quarter of that game because both teams turned up the pressure a lot. I know you were pressuring them to get down the court. They were doing the same to you. It was a really close game. I think 13-10 might have been the score at the end of the first quarter. And both teams really had a good time picking that other press apart. I know they were able to get inside and score on you a few times, and you were able to do the same to them. Talk to me about that game and what you enjoyed about winning that one.
Well, used to every time you went to Happy Valley, it was a fight, just like going to Cosby. So, anytime you can come out on top. But I thought the third quarter was the difference in that game. I forget how much we outscored them, but we turned them over. They're still young. They weren't used to some things we threw at them. And, led to, I think it ended up being 30 or something like that.
Yeah, hats off to them.
Yeah.
You could see the improvement that they've made already because it's a night and day difference from last year's team.
And I told their coach, that was, he's really doing a good job bringing them along. They're so young.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a kid at the end, and this is where I give my guys credit. They had a player that, like we had a few years ago, that they put in there, and we let him score, and that's his first 2 points. And his dad sent that he was really proud of how my team acted. It was really classy. And, hats off to our boys for showing that. They didn't make fun of him like the team that had played before. Didn't let him score, forced him to turn it over, and, that's not how you do. These boys have been around that, and, I thought, for a parent to call and say that about them, that's awesome for teenage boys.
It was a special moment to see.
Yeah.
I can't remember who.
I know. He was number 32. Wasn't the first time he shot a 3, and he failed down there. And I was afraid he was hurt, but he bounced right back. And, of course, he got it from us, and he took coast to coast and laid it in.
Nice layup, too.
Yeah.
He was very fluent with it. I give him credit. I don't know who recorded the video that was posted later. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't get to see that.
Somebody recorded a video of it, and I don't know if it was his mom or who it was that ran all the way down the sideline and followed him whenever he was running down the court, and whenever he scored. She, of course, got real excited and threw her arms up in the air and ran and followed him back down the court. And it was just a cool sight to see. It was cool for me, too, because I was sitting next to the scorer's table, but I was sitting on the first row, and the scorer's table was a little bit taller, so I can't see her coming. So she comes and she sprints and zooms right in front of me and then runs back to the other side. And it was just a cool sight throughout the whole night. It was cool to see both teams get wins. For you, I know it was special also because we talked about right after the game with South Green's loss to Hampton that night. You jump into first place, and you're the only undefeated team left in the conference now at 2-0. And I know that's special for you. You always talk about it's special to win those on the road. You did that against Happy Valley, and you've got the early conference lead going into Christmas break now.
Yeah, South Green did lose, but they played without their point guard, and Roderick's a big difference.
And I think he's around a 10, 15 point per game score, and that ended up being the margin too.
So I'm curious to see how it goes the next time they play with him back in the lineup, because those two were pretty much picked 1 and 2, and it'll be an interesting race.
It will. Because I don't think
second half
this early in the last 2 years of the realignment, I don't think this early you've had this many teams lose because
you're right. Last year we were. Well, I guess us and South Green was undefeated going into that matchup.
Yep. And then the year before that, I think you all won the conference championship in the regular season and the tournament, and you finished a combined 9-1 overall. And then I think last year South Green was the one 9-1, and I think you were right behind them with 2 losses. And this year you've got the possibility that you may have a team with 1 or 2 losses that wins the conference just because Hampton coming in throws a monkey wrench in everything, and that makes it a tougher game for everybody now because, like you said, you beat Hampton at home, but then Hampton goes into South Green and beats South Green. The possibilities are endless within this conference now with Hampton joining.
It's true. It is. And, Hampton's going to eventually get everybody back, too, which is going to make them even better.
Because that's one thing that I think we talked about was that they're just now getting their football guys back, too. A lot of teams are getting their football guys back, too. So when you play these early conference matchups in December when everybody's not really either fully healthy or in full basketball shape, it's key to win those games because when you get into January, it's anybody's ball game because at that point, you're usually gaining your rhythm going down the wire going into February.
Yeah, you're right. Hampton will make a difference.
They will for sure.
Yeah.
Good news is I want to mention this right before we go to the break. You beat Happy Valley right after you beat Hampton too. That's 2 in a row. You won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
We mentioned that.
Yeah, that's right. Instead of loss, win, loss, win.
Yep.
We get 2 in a row, and then we go down there to Cosby and lose like that when, you were thinking we're getting, we are getting better. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to have my boys think that, that they're not. They are. Did we play our best ball? Well, no. 27 turnovers? No, by any means. And we will get better at that. And, at the same time, we've got to get to where just because the team's quicker than us, We've got to make them play our game. You know, make them play a half-court game. We don't want to get in a running game. And we got into that at times last night, and they're better at that. They want you shooting threes.
Yeah.
Because if you miss, they're gone. They're on that other end as fast as they can go.
Especially at home.
Oh, goodness.
But get those out of the way now. You've got one more game until you jump into your Christmas tournament. You've got North Green now. The good news is you get them at home. So you throw that road, I guess that you had 2 games on the road, so you got those 2 games out of the way, and now you've got North Green coming up at home. We'll go ahead and get that in just a minute. We need to get some messages on screen first, so we'll be right back after this on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greenville.
Tommy's Plumbing has provided professional plumbing services to the residents of Greenville, Tennessee for over 30 years. Our experience and reputation have helped us grow our business to add locations in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing is local and family owned, and we offer a full line of plumbing services, such as kitchen faucet, shower faucets, commodes, and bathroom faucets, as well as drain cleaning. We also provide outside plumbing work, such as septic and sewer drain cleanouts, as well as repair and replace. Tommy's Plumbing pretty much does it all. Tommy's Plumbing is licensed, bonded, and insured. Our quality workmanship and passion to provide our clients with expert service is second to none. We guarantee we have the best warranty around. For all your plumbing needs, give Tommy's a call at 638-3662.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Sam Broyles Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the Chucky Doak Black Knights basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Sam Broyles. So you've got North Green up next on the schedule. That finishes out your home and away series through Christmas break. I know you've still got the Christmas tournament later on in the year, but that kind of puts a stamp on the halfway point of your season with this North Green game. You get them at home first. The Huskies are always a team that you play home and away each year. It's a county rivalry. It's always a fun matchup. What do you expect out of the Huskies on Friday night?
They'll give you everything you've got. You know, these county games, I mean, it's intense. You know, both teams wanting to beat each other. You know, and of course, you know, Britain playing with these boys through the middle school stuff, it'll be interesting because they all know each other, you know. So I'm looking forward to it.
With North Green, too, it's one of those teams that you always assume what they're going to run, too, because Coach Tarleton's been a coach for 6 or 7 years now, runs a lot of the same sets, runs a lot of the same plays, too. So what do you expect out of that team, and what are some of the plays you expect them to run on Friday night?
Well, they do a lot of dribble handoff, you know, picking and rolling, of course, for, you know, Britain. So we've got to do a good job of helping contain and helping on him. Because, you know, he'll have those nights. He gets going. It's hard to stop him.
Yeah.
It's a downhill battle. But, you know, and how well their other players play, too, will be, you know, key. You know, even if he scores his, we got to shut those other people down, too. That's, you know, the key. You know, it's hard to stop both, but we'll, you know, try our best, too. But, you know, it'll be interesting. See how it goes.
North Green's one of those teams, too. I think everybody knows it at this point, too. You can never count them out.
Oh, no.
Witnessed it last night at Cherokee, too, where they were down 15 points with less than 4 minutes left, and they ended up bringing it back to a 3-point game with the ball with less than a minute left, too. I know you've seen it before firsthand, too. I know there's a lot of teams that have seen it firsthand, too. When you get down in those situations like that, what do you kind of have to tell your team to make sure that you don't let them get back in the ball game?
Well, you got to take good shots. Take care of the basketball. The only way you let them back in is threes, you know, shooting threes, turnovers, you know. So if we take good shots, you know, you can maintain that lead. But a lot of times, you know, the teenagers, that don't always happen, the way you plan it. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I understand they lost Cherokee, but they beat Cosby. We didn't. You know, I don't know if that game was at North Green or Cosby, but still the bottom line is they beat them. So we've got to be ready for them. I know they'll be ready for us.
And then Cosby loss, I wanted to say this too, it's never a good thing to lose a game, but sometimes when you lose some of those games and it follows up with a team like North Green like this, you can kind of learn from those wrongs in the Cosby game and correct them in the North Green game, because it's kind of going to be some of the same situation where you're going to see some of that pressure if they get down. You're going to see a lot of those three-point baskets from deep like Cosby was hitting in that game too. So you've got to take care of the ball, and you've got to be able to guard that too. Or some of those things from the Cosby game, what you're working on to fix towards this North Green game, do you expect some of that same stuff?
Well, at least I know there won't be an eagle out here. But Cosby, I don't know how many shots they made from that eagle, but it was unreal, the distance from the three-point line that they were shooting and making shots. And, we were up in them. You just had to tip your hat to some of that stuff.
'Cause,
and they've really worked hard, too, on giving and going. And, North Green will run a lot of that type of stuff. So, it'll help us prepare for that for tomorrow night.
I think North Green's the only one we'll cover now. You've got a Christmas tournament later in Lenoir City, but that's 2 weeks away. We won't cover that just yet. We'll try to come back in here and sit down next week if it's a possibility. I know after Christmas break, whenever you teachers aren't in school, it's a little tougher to sit down. So we'll see what interviews we can get in next week. This will be the first one to air on Friday. So you'll have a whole block of interviews outside of Coach Donahue. Coach, if he's in Cincinnati watching this right now, we wish you all the best.
That's right, Coach.
But outside of that, you'll see all the ones following this. We'll get everybody in this week. Don't know how we'll fare next week. We'll see with all the tournaments and stuff going on. But, Coach, as always, appreciate you sitting down with me. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Sam Broyles Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.